Hello everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Ben Talks About. Now, I'm not the kind of person who goes around talking about things that are, quote, trending, aka what's on the trending page on YouTube. That is unless it is based on my sort of category of interests, which 85% of the time it's not. However, there was one thing particular that popped up today, which immediately interested me and gave me an idea for what sort of thing I wanted to talk about. And it's a trailer for the most recent movie in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, Avengers Endgame, which is of course the follow-up to the previous major Avengers film that came out, Avengers Infinity War. Now, I've never really talked about it on this channel before, but I am indeed a big fan of the Marvel movies. I have seen a majority of them, or at least ones that are considered by people to be actually good. So, as a fan, I was actually really excited when I saw this trailer. And with a title like Avengers Endgame, it's more than likely that this film is going to be the conclusion of this generation of the, group of Marvel superheroes that we've seen for almost so many years now. Which I think is a pretty good thing for one reason in particular. But before we talk about that, let's talk about what actually is in the trailer itself. Now, the trailer is only around a little over 2 minutes long, so it doesn't give us a whole lot in terms of what the plot is. All we particularly know is that around 50% of the Avengers have been wiped out by Thanos because of what happened at the end of Infinity War, and as a result, 50% of the Avengers are still alive. So presumably this is going to be mostly about the Avengers getting all back together and, trying to find a way to stop Thanos, who we saw a little bit of in the trailer in this like flower garden scene with him, with the only shot that we see of him is him wearing the Infinity Gauntlet. But we also saw a clip of what Iron Man was doing in his spare time, and considering he was on a separate planet and pretty much he was the only one who survived his fight with Thanos, he's pretty much lost in space. And we're not quite sure what exactly is going to happen to him, but it's more than likely that he's probably one of the few that's going to die. Which is kind of sad for me to think, because Iron Man was by far my favorite out of all the Avengers characters. But yeah, despite the little accident that happened at the end of the previous movie, there are still several of members of the Avengers that are, of course, still alive. Some of them pretty much being all like the major ones, like Captain America, he's still alive, Thor's still alive, Hulk is still alive. Pretty much the rest of the group from Black Panther, with the exception of Black Panther himself, is still alive. They did show a clip of Hawkeye, who survived, which I think I'm not quite sure if he was actually shown in Infinity War, but either way, the rest of the a majority of the Guardians of the Galaxy are dead except for Rocket Raccoon, I believe that's what his name was. But yeah, there are quite a few people who are indeed still alive, so it's not like, people make the joke that, everyone dies in Infinity War, when really not a whole lot of the major characters died. And of course, we are, of course, more than likely going to see characters like Captain Marvel, who, of course, is getting her own solo movie, which is going to be the next Marvel film to come out before this one. And one other thing about the trailer that I found actually really interesting was the fact that after the title of the thing was shown, they actually showed a clip of Ant-Man, who, if you saw Ant-Man's previous film, Ant-Man and the Wasp, you would know that he at the end during the end credits that he was stuck in that tiny dimension, which I sort of call it because I'm not quite sure if it actually has an official name. But yeah, he got stuck in the tiny dimension because all of his partners that were with him in during his film all dissolved into dust because of Thanos' little snap thing that he did at the end of Infinity War. So I'm actually, out of all the things that the trailer showed, I'm actually most interested into how they're gonna explain like how Ant-Man managed to escape. Because I personally really loved Ant-Man and the Wasp. I know the film got a few mixed reviews by a majority of people, but I actually really liked it, and it sort of made me a bit of a fan of Ant-Man as a character, because he feels kind of like he's like a sort of fish out of water kind of character in this line of so many like weird characters with like tragic backstories and all that. He's he's like if I wrote a superhero. If I were to create a superhero, he'd be sort of like Ant-Man. So, yeah, I'm mostly interested on how they're going to explain how he escaped, and not to mention how Captain Marvel's going to be, involved in the film, because I'm actually really excited for her movie when it eventually comes out. And I'm also wondering if they're also going to take this opportunity to introduce some other, like, new characters, or if they're going to keep it a bit more exclusive to this first major, like, generation of superheroes. Because I feel like this kind of film is the type to sort of conclude the entire first generation of, Marvel movies, starting with, of course, the original Iron Man, and, concluding with, reaching its conclusion with this film. And I feel like this is a new opportunity for the Marvel series because it'll allow them to introduce even more newer, possibly more obscure heroes that they have the license for, to make a sort of like comeback, you could sort of say, in their own film. And eventually, when we get a film that I would probably just title like the next Avengers, is when I would like to see, all like completely, a brand new cast and, you know, that kind of stuff. Because, these type of characters aren't going to like last forever, Eventually they are going to have to pass the torch to, a brand new cast. And, Marvel, of course, being how old it is and how huge it is as like a company, they have like millions upon millions of different characters that they still have yet to use. And not to mention the fact that they have, the characters that they got back from Fox. So they have characters like, they have to reintroduce characters like the X-Men, who from this at this point have had all their movies in their own separate universe, and then they also have to redo the Fantastic Four and possibly make it an actual good series. But yeah, I'm really interested in this film, and I'm also really interested in how this will sort of affect the future of the Marvel Cinematic Universe. And to conclude, I am really excited to see this movie. And I would like to hear what you personally thought of the trailer and the type of things that you would like to see from the Marvel Cinematic Universe after this film comes out. So, if you want to, make sure to tell me in the comments section down below, and I hope you all enjoyed me talking about this movie, this trailer for this eventual movie, you could say. And until the next time we meet, I'm Ben Contreras, and bye.